Okay, so this is a demo of a web service, and this is the web service. We have an employees collection of type employee, and we have a couple of methods here, one to add employee and one to update employees. The method don't actually do anything beyond just printing the fact that they are adding and returning the fact that they are adding, plus the information they actually got, and they get an employee type as the parameter. So this little thing is up and running, and we actually have it as a web service which is accessible from here. Let's just copy the WSDL file. And now let's build an ADF UI on top of this. So I'm actually going to do this in a new application. And first, in the model project, I'm going to create a new web service data control. We'll call it the employees web service, for example, and paste the URL to the WSDL. Then we can see all the methods, move them to the right, like that, and click finish. Okay. The next step would be to go over and build a page on top of this data control. So we'll build a JSF page. So there's a little trick here, and that's the fact that the web service, if we actually look at the data control down here, one of the methods there would basically be the get employees. Now this is a web service and it returns a set of values. Now those values by default are read-only because the method is not an updatable method, it's a get method. So what we need to do is we actually want to change it to be updatable, so we'll be able to actually update the fields when we fetch them. So in order to do that, I'm going to go into the definition of my web service data control and look up the method which is called get employees. Okay, and I can see the return item over here, and I can see the various fields in the return item. Now for each one of the fields you can see a set of properties, and one of the properties is called is updatable, and right now it's in a read-only mode, so let's switch it to be updatable. We're going to do it for each one of the properties here. Okay, and we're going to save this information, and that's enough in terms of changing the data control. What we probably want to do here is just click refresh to be sure we're seeing the latest status. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to invoke the get employees in this page, and we're going to take the return, drop it on the page as a form. Okay. I'm going to add some navigation control. Navigation controls are basically using the next and previous operations that are available on your data control. This is our basic page. So when we run this page, we'll actually get a set of employees and we'll be able to browse them. Now what we want to do next is to enable people to actually update and insert information from this page. So to do that, we're going to drag over the method, for example, for update employee. Okay. So remember, this method has a parameter called arg0, and if you actually look up the details of arg0 here, you'll see the same fields. Okay, so it's the same type of object, and it returns a string. So we'll drag the method over, put it next to this button over here, and we'll just drop it as another button. Okay. And you can see that we need to pass to it a value, right, for the parameter. Let's invoke our expression language editor. And what you'll see here is you'll actually see two things here. You'll see a get employee iterator and a return iterator. So this is the tricky part. You're actually needing the return iterator, which is what is returned from the method, right? And you're going to go to the current row, data provider. This is what you're passing back into the method that does an update. Right? So click OK here and OK here. Right? So this would add a button to do an update for the employee. And similarly, we can go over and do the same for an add employee. Right? So again, drag and drop it, you can put it here as another button. Same trick with picking up a value for the parameter, the return iterator, data provider under current row. Okay. Save everything. Let's actually also show the results. So we'll pick up the results of both methods and just drop them on the page like that. Okay. Save everything and run it. While it's running, let's look at the binding tab just to understand what's going on. To get the getEmployees method actually is the one that invokes at the beginning of the page, gets the employees and put the information in each one of the attributes here. Right? And then we get the other action binding. Right? And we also get return items basically here. So the getEmployees iterator and is, let's go back, is connected to the employee's return, as well as the return iterator is actually what we're actually getting here. Right? So this is the object that we actually want to return, right? And this is why we're using the return iterator. Okay, let's look at our application now. So we got the name of an employee. We can do an update. Let's call it Joey. And let's also update the phone. Right? And let's click the update employee. Okay? And we can see the return from the value from the method for updating employees, so we know that this method was invoked. In fact, if we'll go back into JDeveloper and look at the log, we'll actually see the printing that is done from that method. Right? So this is the update method being invoked with the values we provided. And if we have wanted to do an insert, we can just put in another name and another value and click the add employee. It would be basically the same call to a method, passing the values